What's good, my people? It's Beamer. I'm about to show you guys the truth about weather modification. Most of you guys, when you think of weather modification, you probably think of cloud seeding, which is when they basically artificially put water molecules in a cloud so they can make it rain. And chemtrails, which is basically spraying things in the sky to one, block UV radiation and or poison the population. But this is the form of weather modification that is actually the most prominent and the most used and the least talked about. And it's using microwave radiation. And before I get into it, there was this documentary on the History Channel. Literally, it's called HAARP documentary, Weather Warfare. This came out in 2009. I'm going to show you the opening 30-second clip just to give you some context. And I'm going to be discussing what they talk about through the documentary briefly. And then if you want to go into detail and whatnot, I highly recommend watching this documentary. But I'm going to start off the opening part for y'all just to give some context.
Man is on a quest to play God, to control the weather and use it as a weapon. Lightning, torrential rains, hurricanes, targeted at the enemy.
The ultimate war is if you never have to fire a round and nobody ever knew you launched the fight.
Is it possible there have already been attacks using weather weapons?
Some people believe that Katrina was weather warfare at its most potent.
But how do we get from understanding extreme?
Okay, so basically, now breaking into how they would use this weather warfare to create natural disasters. Basically what they use is microwave radiation. Nazi Germany discovered all of these things. Unfortunately, during the Holocaust and whatnot, they had endless bodies and scientists to experiment on people and on things. And that's why a lot of innovation came out of Nazi Germany. That's why the microwave came out right after World War II. It's the similar technology to microwaves is what they're using here for weather warfare. So for example purposes, your microwave is 50 watts, right? Roughly. What they use, these are 1 billion watts. So imagine they create a microwave with no door, right? Think about how a microwave works too. I don't want to get into what radiation is and whatnot. But for example, I put my food in the microwave, I hit the buttons, bing, bing, bing. And next thing you know, I open it, my food's on fire, but the atmosphere around it is not hot at all, right? So this is the way that they're able to affect the climate and the weather and create natural disasters and leave no trace. So what they do is, and again, if you watch this documentary, it'll break down everything in detail. They even have a scientist show a controlled experiment on exactly how HAARP, this weather modification warfare, works in a controlled environment. So basically what they do is they have this 1 billion watt microwave, they aim it up at the atmosphere. Basically, it just looks like a bunch of telephone poles all close to each other. And when they shoot it up, it goes through the atmosphere. It hits that ionosphere. I don't know why it can't pass through it. I don't know. I'm guessing just the properties of the ionosphere is what they claim. And then it goes back down depending on where they angle it, and it can create natural disasters. And there's like 30 of these machines all over the world. They say if they use them in unison, they can completely change the Gulf Stream. Like they can change the way that the world works as we know it, like the way the natural directions of the winds, everything. Plus, you got to think this is part of the reason why Nazi Germany was almost able to take over the world. These advanced technologies that they were using without any morality is part of the reason why they got so far ahead. And just to give more context, you guys should look into like the forest fires and whatnot from California this year. There was houses that were burned down, and there's pictures and videos of like, it literally looks like a laser came down and like evaporated parts of the land. Because then there's like parts that are completely burned to nothing, and then there's like perfect lines of trees in between each row of burning and stuff. Just sketchy things that don't add up if you know anything about how nature would work and how forest fires work. I'm trying to think what direction I want to go with this, because another thing too, you got to think natural disasters, right? They're at an all-time high, and they blame global warming on the humans, right? Because we're just the pesky humans that we are, what is that? Parasite to the world. When in reality, these people that are running the world, these elites or whatever, they're the ones dropping bombs all over the world. They're the ones that own the big factories. They're the ones that own the big oil companies that spilt in the ocean. They're the ones that are supposed to collect our garbage and then they dump it in the ocean. Global warming is not because of me and you. It's because of these greedy motherfuckers who only care about their own personal gain. And just to give more context on this weather modification, weather warfare, and why you don't hear about it either, it's because imagine if the general public knew that the government was using microwave radiation to create natural disasters. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like straight out of a sci-fi movie, and it basically is. That's why I highly recommend checking out this History Channel documentary. And it's also a similar way that they create lasers. Like, for example, remember how I was saying that it's only heated up the area that's being hit while it's on, right? So for example, if I aim this microwave radiation beam directly at you, right, you would evaporate. You would literally evaporate. You would explode, right? But then as soon as I turned it off, there would be no trace on why you exploded. You know, there may be a little bit of distortion in the atmosphere, which is, there's actually a bunch of videos of people catching weird colors and stuff through the atmosphere during those California fires. And unfortunately, all these videos get harder and harder to find, especially when you're not on top of this stuff. As soon as it comes out, the censorship is so ridiculous. I'm actually gonna make a video about one of the Google whistleblowers who was an engineer, and then he was like just scrolling through Google where he shouldn't have, and he found the blacklisted items, like all these terms and whatnot that are blacklisted, as in if you Google search them, nothing relevant will really show up. And one of them was cancer cures, another one was weather modification. There was a bunch of things. So I'm gonna do a whole nother video on that. But yeah, that's basically, I guess I basically covered it all. Weather modification, HAARP. Check out the documentary. It's not just cloud seeding, it's not just chemtrails. Not to mention, I don't even want to get into chemtrails and cloud seeding. Like I said, why is there droughts all over the world when we can literally artificially inseminate clouds with water? Artificially inseminate. we can literally fill clouds with water and make it rain. You know, and then these stuff with chemtrails. I don't want to go into like Bill Gates. There's a reason why he stepped down from Microsoft and he's not worried about that no more. There's a reason why he just accumulated the most farmland in all of the United States. There's a reason why he wants to block out the sun. But that's another video. I hope I covered everything for y'all. If you got any questions, go crazy in the comments. And yeah, see y'all next time.